value. A decision to swing in the direction of Android, to play the role of the swing factor over to Android and delivering some substantial market share to the Android ecosystem would essentially have tilted the mobile ecosystem in that direction. And that has value that Google recognized. Now, think about the other aspect of this strategic consideration. And that is, a decision to go Windows Phone creates a very different dynamic. By moving in the direction of Windows Phone and partnering with Microsoft, we create an environment where now Windows Phone is a challenger, where we have created, as we've said repeatedly, a three-horse race. For Microsoft, the consideration at Nokia of going in that direction had value, significant value. So think about that. What was really going on over the last several weeks, months, is not only were we considering the internal options, but we were also considering what was the right decision for Nokia as a company being suited by two of the world's largest technology companies who both recognize the critical importance of having a strong role in the mobile ecosystem. We went through that process and indeed were suited by both parties. Now, we obviously made the decision to go Windows Phone. We made the decision for a whole variety of reasons, but I think to truly understand it, you need to understand a bit more about how Microsoft viewed this opportunity to ensure that there were three ecosystems and not only two, excluding them. So let me give you a sense of that. Many of you have already written and observed that when you enter into a relationship like this between two parties, in this case between Nokia and Microsoft, that the beginning of the framework of the deal is something called an OEM deal. And there's a general balance in the construct of an OEM deal. Essentially, we pay Microsoft royalties for the use of their software and for the fact that they are developing that software and fulfilling obligations to us and to others to deliver a great product with us. So we pay the money for that. And of course, the balance to that transaction is that we are able to reduce our operating expenses. We're paying them, but we are not internally also developing a software platform ourselves. So you see the balance in that part of the transaction. Royalty flow to Microsoft, OpEx reduction to Microsoft or to Nokia. Now it has been questioned by some of the analysts, does Nokia understand the significant OpEx reductions that ought to go along with that, with this transaction? And the short answer to that question is absolutely we do. And in the weeks and months ahead, that will become more apparent. But that's the beginning of the OEM transaction. And I think the sense is that that's the totality of the relationship. In fact, the Nokia and Microsoft partnership around Windows Phone goes far deeper than that in many different ways. And I want to share with you a bit more of how this construct works. So you have to think about it in terms of what Nokia, in addition to the royalties, what has Nokia contributed to this partnership? Well, we're contributing a number of things. For example, we are contributing a variety of services, of capabilities that will be used by Windows Phone manufacturers, including Nokia. So we're contributing things like the capabilities around OB Maps, around the OB Store, around new advertising opportunities relating to local services. We are contributing that to this partnership. So that's one example. We are also contributing to this partnership the specific technical and hardware and differentiating capabilities that will ensure that Nokia Windows Phone products are great products. So services, great technology, but there's also something else we're contributing, and it's what I mentioned at the beginning. We are contributing the swing factor. We are contributing the fact that we have created a challenger in Windows Phone, a significant contribution to the ecosystem. We're bringing substantial market share in that direction the world over. And of course, the question, therefore, is what is the contribution from Microsoft in the other direction? Well, clearly they too are contributing services. Things like Bing for search in certain countries, things like advertising capabilities, Xbox, and so forth. So they're contributing those types of things. They also, this is a very important thing to recognize in the balance of the transaction, they are contributing a dependency. We are clearly dependent on Windows Phone as we go forward, but now they become they're placing a very significant bet on Nokia for the delivery of the location-based services. So that's a critical element. But there's another element that comes out of this. We're contributing these services, and in exchange, we are also receiving a new source of revenue, a new and additional way for Nokia to make money, and that is related to advertising. We have not had an advertising source of revenue, yet clearly in the world, the business models are evolving such that advertising has become very important. And so that's part of the contribution back. But there's one more that's worth noting. For all of the unique elements that Nokia is contributing, including the swing factor, including the decision to make Windows Phone a challenger, Microsoft is contributing to Nokia substantial monetary value towards Nokia because we are contributing all of these unique things. During our investor briefing, there was a slide where we had a single line with a little green check mark saying marketing and other investments or something like that from Microsoft to Nokia. I think some people interpreted that as something that would be measured in the millions or tens of millions or something, as most marketing transfers of value are. In fact, when you look at all of the value that we're contributing and the unique nature of what we bring to the table as part of this transaction, in fact, the value transfer to Nokia is measured in the B's, not the M's. Overall, royalties, OpEx reductions, significant unique contribution from Microsoft, or from Nokia, from Microsoft, new sources of revenue, and a huge monetary transfer to recognize our unique value. And this is something I don't think was completely explained or picked up or what have you, but it structures the overall framework of the deal. The thing to recognize here, overall, is indeed Nokia has placed an important, very important strategic bet on Microsoft, and Microsoft has placed a very important strategic bet on Nokia. And that is one of the critical reasons why we will both succeed together. So that's the first of 5 general questions and topics that we want to start off with before we get into an open Q&A. I'm now going to invite on stage Joe Farley, who is responsible now for our smart devices efforts. There have been a lot of questions about the transition and how quickly will you work with Microsoft, and what about Symbian, and what are the next steps for Symbian? Joe's going to spend a few minutes on that. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Joe Farley.
Thank you and good evening. So before I talk about the transition from Symbian to Windows Phone, I want to talk a little bit about the strategy that we've chosen. It's our opinion, and the opinion of many others, that Windows Phone is an exciting, contemporary, and modern UI and platform. We are the partner who will bring innovation in design and hardware to make great mobile products with Windows Phone. And we've already started. We've had teams working together in some pretty interesting places like Reykjavik, for example. And they are working together, our technical teams are working together next week to solidify the timing of the first Nokia Windows Phone product. So that means that I cannot today tell you exactly when is that time. But my boss has told me that he would be much happier if that time was in 2011. So Stephen, of course, I am pleased. So one of the things that we also saw is that people got kind of excited about some early concept renderings that got out in the last couple of days. You might have seen these. Well, I want to share with you one more, because it helps to give you some insight into what can come out of the collaboration between Nokia's design team and the Microsoft Windows Phone design team that has already begun. And I'm really looking forward to sharing with you more of this great collaboration in the weeks to come. There's a second thing I wanted to address here, which is I think the misunderstanding about what it means that Symbian is a franchise platform. So what that means is that we will be making significant short-term investments in the Symbian platform so that we and our customers can harvest the value that the Symbian platform offers. So what does that mean? What kind of investments are we going to make? Well, first of all, we will be making investments in a series of new devices that will be launched in the months to come and beyond. We will also be investing in the hardware platform, in the hardware platform in terms of gigahertz plus processing capability, as well as significant improvements in graphics speed. In addition to that, we will be making investments in UI improvements that will give a whole new, fresh look and feel to the Symbian UI, making it more accessible to even more consumers. And those improvements will be delivered via a series of software releases and software updates in the coming weeks and months. So these investments are what give us the confidence that we will be able to ship volumes of Symbian devices in the coming months and years. In addition, it gives us the ability to carefully manage the transition between Symbian and Windows Phone. So that's the second question. Stephen, back to you.